friends, let's start with the Russian setback in the Avdiivka direction. It's indeed a major setback. Even Western experts have already counted significant Russian losses in this direction over the past week.
The enemy attempted to encircle Avdiivka, sending columns of over 100 pieces of equipment, including tanks, armored personnel carriers, infantry fighting vehicles, and trucks, into the attack. All of this came under artillery fire, meaning the Russian forces were repelled. According to the assessment by the Second Army of the World analysts, they lost over 60 tanks and armored personnel carriers. The Russian army's plan was to create a large cauldron by bypassing Avdiivka from the west. To achieve this, they aimed to capture the towns of Pryutne, Stepny, and Berdichev. The Ukrainian armed forces managed to halt the advancing forces near Pryutne and along the railway line in Svatove. From an analyst's perspective, despite their losses, the Russians don't appear to be giving up on their advance towards Avdiivka, so the city may face a fate similar to Bakhmut.
Yes, they were indeed hoping to create a situation similar to Bakhmut and capture the city. The thing is, during the Ukrainian armed forces offensive actions in the Zaporizhzhia and Vuhledar directions, they didn't use as many tanks units and even more so aviation as the Russian could afford to employ in the Avdiivka direction. And even this didn't lead them to success. Over the past day, the front line remains unchanged. This is a significant success for the Ukrainian forces. However, periodic attacks continue in different directions, but their intensity has decreased, and the chances of a breakthrough are now even slimmer. The Ukrainian president has also confirmed the success of the Ukrainian forces on the front.
I wish you health, fellow Ukrainians. I held a meeting of the staff. The commanders delivered important reports. I thank every warrior, every brigade of ours who are firmly holding their positions. Avdiivka, Bakhmut direction, Mariinka, Shakhtarsk direction, Kupiansk and Zaporizhzhia direction. Well done, guys. I am grateful to those who are effectively destroying the occupiers' logistics and bases on our land. There are results. I am grateful to some of our partners. The weapons are effective, as we agreed. We have a result in our advancement, the result of our guys' assault operations, and this is the key news for our country. Every day, every week, Ukraine needs such results. Every day, every week, we need to keep the initiative. I am grateful to all those who are doing just that. Every kilometer, every occupier's defense line overcome, all this matters. The consistency of our results means the consistency of the world's support for Ukraine. There was a report at the staff meeting on the protection of the Black Sea coast and the Danube region. Protection of people, protection of ports, protection of our exports. I am grateful to everyone who works for this. We also discussed international politics and the changes that have taken place. Government officials reported, as did the intelligence. There are many challenges, but whatever the threats, our response is our strength, our unity. To protect Ukraine and state interests, to be on the defensive or with the defense. To help, to take care of those around us. To find your place in the common work of the nation, this is important. We will definitely prevail. Glory to Ukraine!
And before we continue, I'd like to ask you to share this video on social media and watch it to the end. It greatly helps promote my channel. Thank you. In the Bakhmut direction, the occupiers continue their attempts to advance near Klyshchivka and Andriivka. The Russian command sends them into battle seemingly for the sole purpose of preventing the Ukrainian forces from advancing further and retaking these populated areas. The Russians won't be able to do it, and while they continue to suffer daily losses, shelling also persists. However, over the past day, the front line remains unchanged. In the Siversk direction, the occupiers continue shelling along the front line, but this direction hasn't shown much activity. Since their failed defensive actions in the forest area, they seem to have settled into a defensive stance. In the Kremenna area, the Ukrainian forces successfully repelled all advancing Russian groups. Consequently, no new attacks are currently being reported today, and the Russians are regrouping and conducting shelling. It appears that the Russian plan to push the Ukrainian forces across the river is equally unfeasible. In the direction of Svatove, after a prolonged lull, there have been renewed offensive actions toward the villages of Nadiya and Stelmakhivka. I'm sure everyone remembers how they advanced on Stelmakhivka for an entire month without success. They couldn't capture the village, and now it seems they want to try again with fresh forces. So we'll be waiting for another round of complaints from the Russians about their unsuccessful advances. In the Kupiansk direction, the occupiers continue to struggle and self-destruct in the area near Senkivka for over a week. They also persist in their attacks near Yahidne, but they haven't managed to advance even a meter. They are getting closer to the Ukrainian positions, but our units are preventing them from establishing a foothold, so the front line remains unchanged, with Kupiansk still at least 7 kilometers away. It seems that the occupiers are facing a complete failure in this direction. Okay, now let's move on to the southern direction, starting with the Vuhledar. Here, the occupiers have halted their attacks in the Pryutne area because they haven't achieved any success. However, assault operations have begun in the direction of Zolota Niva and Prechystivka. As anticipated, they conducted artillery preparations here for several days, and now the attacks have commenced. We are waiting for the results of these actions. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the occupiers have significantly intensified their activities. Last night, they initiated assaults in 3 directions near Pryutne, Vuhledar, and are even breaking through to Novodanylivka, making the situation very complicated. We'll have to wait and see how these battles conclude, but the Ukrainian forces are not advancing to Tokmak at the moment. They need to repel all of the Russian attacks. Additionally, the occupiers persist in heavily shelling the towns near the front and continue their non-stop daily bombardment of Nikopol. In the Kherson direction, the occupiers continue to shell Kherson and Kozatske. The situation is very complex. However, there are no changes along the front line and no offensive actions are taking place. Meanwhile, the situation in Israel is gradually escalating, with powerful shelling, and tensions with other countries are also rising. Additionally, shocking footage of how the Gaza Strip looks right now is appearing on the internet. The difference between the videos is just 9 days. Just take a look at this. And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.